It's me, Heckraiser. How the heck are ya? I've got Bean with me today because it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Bean. She's my baby girl and I love her so much. She's the most amazing girl in the world and I love her. Oh. I don't know if you have Netflix. I don't. But I borrow Netflix from many people. As a creep, as a fanatic of serials, I had to watch the Ed Gein show called Monster, the Ed Gein story. I'm sorry to whoever's account I was under at the time, but if it was anything like Dahmer starring Evan Peters, then I knew it was gonna be good. And it was good, I guess? I don't know, I could do without the last 2 episodes. I think that was kind of a lot. But if we're going to rank serial killers, the real Ed Gein has got to be my number 1. Ed Gein was a man living on a Wisconsin farm with his super strict religious mother and his brother in the 1920s and 30s. Gein lived at his family farm in Plainfield after the death of his mother and father, and his brother died from a freak accident. In 1957, a local deputy found the decapitated body of a local missing woman, Bernice Warden, hanging in a lean-to on the side of the house. Ed Gein was arrested at his Wisconsin farm in 1957 after police discovered a missing woman's corpse and more human remains. It led to the grisly discovery of preserved human heads, mummified body parts, skulls, and items like lampshades and chair seats made out of a human skin on Gein's property. He also confessed to killing tavern owner Mary Hogan in 1954 and said he exhumed corpses of women from local graveyards between 1944 and 1952. Those are the facts. Anything else may or may not be fabricated to tell a more interesting story. The Netflix series was good at that, unfortunately. Before we get into it, I don't want to glorify him or what happened to his victims by any means. I'm actually not much of a fan of true crime, but the impacts Ed Gein had on modern media is undeniable. Nonetheless, he's inspired so many amazing stories. Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Hello? I remember watching all of them as a kid. I know that they had the found footage versions of them back in like the early 2000s, and I actually thought that it was real. And so I was like Googling all of the photos of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre ordeal, and yeah, it was interesting. Probably shouldn't have had internet at the time. One great piece about the Netflix show was that it went through all of the movies that were directly inspired by Ed Gein. As a movie buff, I found it very interesting, actually. Psycho with Norman Bates. That was produced by Alfred Hitchcock. It was one of the first movies to actually portray a human killer instead of a fictitious monster, which snowballed into a new realm of horror. Personally, for me though, I love the series adaptation, Bates Motel. I've watched the whole series like 3 times. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. It's a comfort show for me. And of course, we can't forget about Silence of the Lambs, which portrayed a killer obsessed with wearing a skin suit, which honestly, I always kind of found it a little silly because the dude is just out there like twirling around in his basement, and I don't know, the whole ordeal is just very unserious for him. I think what's really compelling about Ed Gein is this concept of using flesh as a medium. Of course, it's disturbing, but the guy made a whole chair out of human skin. So yeah, sure. Ed Gein was crazy. Yes. He was a serial killer. Sure. But was he an artist? I'll leave that up to you to decide, but today we're going to go over some real-life artists who may have been inspired by our own flesh and bones. Speaking of skin chairs, this artist will have you believing your lazy boy can breathe. Chinese sculptor Cao Hui has created a sculpture series in 2015 titled I Want to Play God. His take on visual deception shocked critics and involved furniture appearing to have internal organs. I mean, look at this chair. Oh my god, it's got intestines hanging out of it. All the fat, all the blood. Ew. First of all, the placement of the organs doesn't even make sense. Like, why would it have a liver? And then there's this coat, which makes me very uncomfy. And I mean, to be fair, A leather coat is essentially the same thing as this, it's just, it doesn't have all the fat on it. So, apparently he makes his art with a mix of fibers and resin. I'm kind of wondering if he actually uses leather, if that's what the fiber part means, or if he's using traditional cotton fabric. I don't know. If he used real leather, I think that would be extremely meta. Using animal skin to represent a false portrayal of human skin. Yeah. Ugh, and I can't with these gloves. They like actually make my skin crawl. That's actually another thing too about Ed Gein, is that he made gloves out of humans as well. So this is kind of a duplicate. Oh. Okay, so here's the whole ensemble. He's got a suitcase. He's got boots, a wallet, gloves, and a pair of shoes. Can you imagine going through TSA with that? I don't know if they'd let you in. They'd be like, "Sir, please step aside. We're gonna have to look through your bag." Nah, that would freak me out as a TSA agent. I'd probably scream. Oh, I'd never come back to work. I mean, I'm sure they've seen worse. So, and the stitching as well. He did a really good job. I don't know if he like actually stitched it with string, but it almost reminds me of Tusk. Have you guys seen the movie Tusk? Oh, I hope not. Actually, watch it. No? Watch it? Don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's not good for you. Anyways, if I were to observe these pieces without context, I would probably assume some take on animal rights, because there is a lot of leather pieces, but this is what the statement is on the series I Want to Play God. This is what Cao Hui had to say about it. It seems artists are no longer happy just being artists, but are driven by their inborn love of performance to try out new roles, such as philosopher, scientist, doctor, or perhaps even engineer. I think artists really want to play God more than anything else, and will stop at nothing to construct a truth that validates the self. Damn. So he's like making a statement about artists trying too hard, having some deep philosophical message to their pieces, which is kind of funny because his statement also reads as him trying hard to be deep, but he's kind of calling other artists out for being too deep. I think that's what that means. Interesting. Honestly, anyway, I'd love to see more of this. I think it's really cool. It's really fun. If he did want to like stray away from like the animal rights message, because that's what I got from it, he could do something like a phone. I think that'd be cool. Or a car. Oh, that'd be awesome. Like, that's like some horror movie based off of the Disney Cars movie. It'd be like a horror movie you'd find on Tubi. Just a car with like internal organs. Oh. You don't see things like this in galleries very often. It's mostly just flowers and naked bodies. Cao's work is so unique, and he's being praised as a representative of violence aesthetics. He is nationally recognized in China. He has won the 4th and 7th Artist of the Year award for AAC. His works are now being held in the National Art Museum of China and other various art museums around the eastern part of the world. Oh, okay. Good for him. Good for him. Similar to Cao's fiber work, Tamara Kostianovsky has a really fun twist with her take on violence aesthetics. I love her work so much. Oh my gosh. Tamara uses discarded clothing to create portrayals of living flesh and organs. Most of her work is hung on these harsh metal hooks, and I think there's like some nice dichotomy to that because the fabric is so soft. She has a whole section on her web gallery called Actus Reus Meets. And the one that really stood out to me was this big whale called The Persistence of Agony. This was an exhibit in 2009 in Queens, New York, at the Socrates Sculpture Park. It was made out of wood, vinyl, and foam. I'm sure they had to make it like weatherproof and stuff. It was made to represent an everlasting sense of tragedy and despair. Well, dang, that's intense. Because I'd be the dumbass to like run up to it and be like, "Oh my god, it's so cute!" You know, I'd be so inappropriate because I'd think it's awesome and amazing, and I would be so giddy over it, and then and then to find out later it's about just tragedy and despair, I'd be like, "Oh." I'd be kicking myself. I mean, I can imagine most of these pieces have dark themes, but I mean, they don't need to. We create art inspired by the human body that is in a positive light. It doesn't always have to mean death. It doesn't always have to mean tragedy. We could celebrate how interesting it is that we are made up of millions and billions of little tiny living cells that make us do things. I think that is so cool. All these little organs are doing their job and they're doing it well and we're all still alive. I think that's cool. We should do some art about that. If you thought I was done with Tamala, I'm not. She's amazing. I love her work and she's quickly becoming one of my favorite artists because her newest work is actually so beautiful. Oh my goodness. In 2024, she created this series called Tropical Abattoir, Botanical Carcasses. They are made from floral fabrics and discarded textiles. This series transforms symbols of carnage into visions of regeneration and rebirth as exotic birds and vegetation emerge forms akin to hanging meat. While unsettling in their anatomy, the carcasses themselves are far from gruesome with the bright tropical presence of Central American landscapes, particularly the artist's home country of Argentina, where beef production plays a major role in the local culture. I personally love art that has a organic twist to it. Like, there's so many posters in my living room of just like decrepit dead bodies, but they've got like flowers coming out of them or like nature is taking over, you know? I just absolutely love that concept. She has won many awards and grants, most notably with the New York Foundation for the Arts, the Pollock-Krasner Foundation, and her work has been reviewed in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Boston Globe, and many, many others. Love, 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 love. It's so beautiful and it's so gross at the same time. Disturbing but timeless. And she makes all these pieces out of discarded clothing. We love a sustainable clean. If you want to see more, I'll link her portfolio along with Sal's in the description. The next artist is a painter. His work is honestly so eerie to me. I want to own it and I want to hang it in a dungeon. Like, dun, dun, dun. His name is Francis Bacon. The name Bacon is ironic because this piece is called Figure with Meat. You've probably heard of it. You've probably seen it. It was in Tim Burton's Batman movie. Pretty cool. And this was finished in 1954. It displays a screaming pope framed by two beef carcasses. More carcasses, more meat. This is currently on view at the Art Institute of Chicago. Figure with Meat is part of a large series of paintings Francis did called The Portrait of Pope Innocent X. And fun fact, Pope Innocent X was actually not so innocent. He started a civil war and stuff. Francis was obsessed with painting him in anguish and agony. Over and over and over. He might have been a little bit insane. However, with Figure with Meat, it is said that the anguish of the man in the painting portrays him as a comparable victim to the carcasses next to him. According to his estate, Francis Bacon saw the body as a discrete entity and as meat. He said that when he looked at butchered meat, he found it surprising. I wasn't there instead of the animal. He's a morbid boy. This here is obviously a legendary piece of fine art. You know, it's in the Art Institute of Chicago, so you could stare at it for hours. You can contemplate its meaning. It touches a very distinct emotion for many people, and you can almost hear the screams. It really makes you wonder what kind of insanity the artist was going through while painting it. Last but certainly not least, we have Jana Sterbak with her meat dress. Oh, please, you thought Lady Gaga did it first? In 1987, Jana made a piece called the Flesh Dress for Albino Anorectic. This dress was made with 60 pounds of real raw flank steak, created to represent the objectification of women and the perishable nature of the human body. Usually, this dress is displayed on a mannequin, of course, but Jana actually wanted to wear it herself. Look at that diva! That pose! Ooh, that's gotta be a little uncomfortable. Maybe a little cold. Ooh, she's a boss. She's still a boss lady, even though she's covered in meat. The creation process of this piece is actually really interesting. Every time they display this work, they have to recreate it over again. Jana has what she calls MDT, the meat dress team. They spend a long 12 hours trimming the fat, tenderizing the meat, and sewing the pieces together. This crew of artists come together every time the dress is exhibited and get to work for the love of the message. After the dress is sewn together, it spends 3 hours curing in salt to keep the meat from spoiling too quickly. However, over the weeks of it being displayed in one gallery, it will change color, it maybe will smell a little bit. Oh God, I gotta stop. According to Walker Art Center, in the coming weeks and months, each time you visit the galleries, you'll get a different impression of Anita's, as the aging process drastically changes the appearance of the work. Yummers! Now, we would assume Lady Gaga wore her meat dress in 2010 to pay homage to Jana's exhibit, right? No. However, her dress was designed by Frank Fernandez to protest the military's "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" policy. The "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" policy was a U.S. military law from 1994 to 2011 that allowed gay, lesbian, and bisexual individuals serve as long as they did not openly reveal their sexual orientation, prohibiting them from discussing it or being asked about it by commanders, but leading to discharge if discovered. Instituted by President Clinton, DADT was repealed by President Obama in 2010, allowing LGBTQ service members to serve openly and without hiding, ending a policy that forced thousands to leave the military. That's insane! I can't believe that was a thing. In 2010, I was bopping to Hannah Montana, so I did not know about this. I think that's absolutely wild that that was even a thing. I hope it doesn't come back. Considering this was repealed in that same year, I'm actually wondering if Lady Gaga's meat dress had anything to do with it. She might have raised awareness to the issue and it could have made an impact. That is like wicked cool though. Mad respect to Gaga for using her fame for good. Now, this dress was created and preserved differently. The meat was stitched into a corset, so she had something it would like grip onto. It wasn't just like draping off of her. A little bit probably was, but it was preserved by taxidermists in formaldehyde and dyed to look fresh. Because it's preserved in that way, they can keep it forever and they don't have to recreate it so many times. But yeah, no, it's now displayed at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I think that's super cool. I would love to see it someday, actually. It has never even crossed my mind that taxidermy is art. Taxidermists are artists. You know, especially in this instance, because they did create fashion, a dress, a form of art. Topic of using formaldehyde. It got me thinking that maybe morticians are just human taxidermists. If you're a mortician, let me know in the comments what you think about that. I don't know. That's something for me to think about at 3 a.m. while the shadows are watching me. And if morticians are working to preserve human bodies, and taxidermists are working to preserve dead animals, that would be considered a craftsmanship, an art, and furniture making is considered a craft as well. And this flesh dress that's using real meat is considered art. Then is the man Ed Gein, who has made bowls, chairs, suits, gloves, a lampshade out of flesh. Is he an artist or just a monster? I'll leave you to think about that at 3 a.m. as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe below. I've got something super special for you coming up next, slightly less morbid. So stay tuned and I will see you later. Bye!